Welcome to episode 2, Doing What You've Always Done, Get What You've Always Gotten. Well, let's begin. That's a pretty simple phrase. I'm not real sure who coined it, but it actually fits a lot more every day that I wake up. A couple of things that actually really start to make a lot more sense to me in the last, I guess, 5 to 10 years, especially in my life, is just how little it's applied or how little it's understood. It's actually used a lot, and of course, a lot of jokes. It's also used by your parents as a stern understanding. A lot of us use it when we're trying to give out great advice to someone, but when it comes to ourselves, we rarely apply it. But I say let's expand it just a little bit more and let's see if we can get a small breakdown, from my opinion, of course, where it lies under. We can apply that saying to pretty much to work, relationships, marriages, life. I'm pretty sure you've heard it, and I'm pretty sure you've tried to do it. I guess it's more of a refresher course, really, for some that, as I'm making that application to some that's never done it. Let's take a look at it with some more practical means. I always try like a comedic edge to it, but I think to start where that phrase really comes from is to kind of inject a way to do some change back into your life, whether it's with anything, how you apply it. A good rule of thumb, especially today at work, just for an example, I've been working at this place for almost 3 to 4 years, and there's a routine that's built into that place, whether it's been hired through people, hired through management, and from upper management, and so on and so forth. And that routine is built in, I'm not going to go into the detail of what the job entails, but let's just say the routine is pretty fundamental. You do one, it leads to two, and it leads to three. The only problem is usually when that starts in any business, of course, as a new employee, they give you the framework of how the things work. And as long as that framework exists, then you should always, as my company hoped, that it would always turn out the same product or the same event or the same exchange or the same, edge or the same, outcome. The only difference is, of course, how each person's talent plays into that. And I think that has a lot to do with the person as well as the management as well as the coaching. And that also can apply with dating. That also can apply to marriages or static relationships. Static relationship, of course, relationships already been born into it. And when you're injected in, I think it's kind of an obligation that you go in there. And of course, if the routine is good and it's sound and structured, you should go it. But you'd always attach yourself to it. Attach a piece of yourself into it. Go to work every day. Like people that complain about their work. Maybe they go into McDonald's every day, and every day that grill is looking the same way, and you're flipping them warm burgers. When you're flipping them, putting the fries in, adding the same amount of 2 dashes of salt, or just, things of that nature. Well, why don't you look around you to see if the routine itself could be added to or changed a little bit. Now, I know there's not much you can do in fast food, especially if you're trying to get them fries and hamburgers out pretty fast. But there may be an application of how you approach it. Maybe at that place, maybe there's a little bit slower. Maybe the pace of the employees are not doing as strong, or maybe the management has a routine about how they deal with certain problems and how to get them grills working faster and things of that nature. I think it's to each person to kind of find his way to how to make his specific job work a little bit better and more efficient for himself. Even to the point of before he clocks in every day, even when he wakes up, there's a fundamental change he should do within himself to make sure that he doesn't get caught in that rut. I believe a lot of ruts begin because we all get put in a routine that we're used to doing. If you go to Target or you go to Walmart, you go to any of the large, beautiful chain stores that I love to go to, there's a certain process and routine that's in there that we all are accustomed to. The checkout lines are here. You're going to look for this product here. You're going to look for that product there. And then the weird part about it is when you see these, you get like a new area of appliances in there, or they add a new area into it. The first thing people do is they flock to it to say, hey, this is brand new. This is really nice. And maybe it was just on the other side of the store. Maybe the company decided to change and move some things around, so that way it looks fresh, but it's the same routine that's in there, but they're taking a different approach. Maybe to kind of drive sales, or maybe to move a certain product that maybe didn't sell in one area of the store to the other one. That's just a business application, so why can't we use that in part of our lives? Let's use dating as an example. If you already say, hey, we're going to date today on set A, and I'm going to go follow this process in order to get to set B, and then after you get together in the relationship, I've always done this because, said things have always been successful to me, never really looking at the fact that the minute somebody else is injected in your life, there has to be a different change. There has to be a different approach to how you deal with things. how you actually look at things and how you reveal things to yourself. Case in point, do what you've always done, get what you've always gotten. I had a conversation with a guy that he always looks for a woman to have these certain things, and the minute they have those certain things, of course he's going to have his undivided attention. He's going to be very satisfied with her. He's going to be going through it. But then down the process, he made a complaint to me and say, well, you know what, I did everything I could, and those things that I liked about her, they didn't continue to progress the way I wanted. Well, I asked him, I was like, well, hey man, when you talk to her and you look at him, yeah, she has those qualities that you like. Did you look beyond those qualities of that you like about her versus the qualities that you can add, to kind of bring out and see and recognize other qualities in her versus just saying, you know what, she can't do all the things that I want. Even though she has the qualities that you want, she makes you happy on all those levels. But since it's not going down the same rate that usually the routine that you're looking for, maybe you need to find another way to approach it. Maybe there's something that's, because she is a different person. You can't, 2 + 2 = 4, but when it comes to human beings, that can turn into a fraction, that can turn into a hypothesis, it can turn into crayons in a coloring book. I mean, it could be anything, because humans, of course, are very malleable, and we do a lot of change. We're actually designed for change. Unfortunately, we put ourselves in a routine in order to create normalcy, but that's a whole other subject, of course. But regardless, he kind of got the idea of what I was trying to say, that just because he has this certain routines always worked in the past, if you have a failed relationship or the relationship breaks apart, it's a failure, and it's a failure on both parts. So try to change those little bitty things. I'm going to repeat it again. Do what you've always done, get what you've always gotten. So if he applied everything that he's always used to doing in a relationship from A to B, then his outcome is going to be the same. So he has to inject a little bit of, well, let me see what I can do different in there in order to get his life turned around and get that relationship turned around. And we can apply that simple phrase to every aspect of our life. Relationship with your parents. Maybe your relationship with your parents are not very well, but you're used to doing these certain things. Try to find another way around it. Try to find a new look inside yourself and see, okay, what can I do a little bit better about approaching this situation? Or, everybody likes to thinking outside the box, but that literally means get outside that box and take a look at it. Maybe there's something you're not really looking at because the routine of your life, puts you in those parameters to where you don't see that well. I kind of like to say that we always like to put blinders on, just like at horse races when they put blinders on the horse so the horse can't see the other ones, they get distracted. In our lives, we put those blinders on so we can create that routine in ourselves so we're not distracted from the things, outside of our lives, thinking that maybe those things around us might not actually be distractions. Maybe they're things that we should take into ourselves. But, of course, we always like to live in our world and have our own little universe, and we're the king and the queen, and I'm not saying anybody you shouldn't have that, but every once in a while, you can't be king for a day. Not every day you're going to be able to rule your sphere of influence. Sometimes, as long as there's another person standing next to you and there's a we involved, then you might have to think about that phrase a little bit more that started this whole entire episode. Maybe today, I hope that I can instill maybe that when you go to your job tomorrow, or you see your girlfriend tomorrow, or your significant other tomorrow, whether it's your dog, whether it's your friend, whether it's how cutting your yard, if you see that if you want to feel that you need to have a different outcome than what you're getting, that may be more successful than where you're going, don't be afraid to change it. This is episode 2. I appreciate you listening to me and looking out for further episodes. And shout out to everybody that's actually going on with their lives in a very progressive manner. Thank you for listening. I'm out.